9 o'clock this morning. Let's get into the WTs this morning, see what's happening on our highways and on our byways. I got nothing really to tell you about. A little volume from Trinity City to Omera and then Paget to Uwe. You've got some traffic there. By the interchange to before Barataria, a little volume, and getting into Port of Spain also got a little volume. Nothing out of the west thus far. Head down San Fernando, make our way up north, see what's going up there. Nothing in the streets of San Fernando. You got some volume from Gasparillo heading towards Claxton Bay, but that's about it. All right, that's about it. Checking some temps. It is 24 degrees at Piarco International Airport. It is 25 in our beautiful sister isle of Tobago, Crown Point to be exact, with a little light showers and with showers in the vicinity of Piarco. The weather for today: settled conditions becomes increasingly interrupted by isolated showers from late morning, early afternoon. There's a low medium chance, 30 to 40%. Some of these showers could become heavy and thundery, especially near southern and western areas of Trinidad. Conditions would improve by late evening to give mostly fair night. All right? That's our weather forecast for Trinidad and Tobago. Let's check some temps before I get into the guys. 16 and sunny in Toronto, 23 in Miami, 21 in Orlando. Orlando was hot this weekend, as well as Atlanta. 16 in New York. Atlanta, 16 as well. London, 15. Tampa, 19. In Washington, D.C., you're at 17. All right? That's some temps across our listenership. Let me bring the guys in. So let me say good morning, good out to you, Paul Richards.
Morning, Steve. Morning, everyone.
Morning, pal. How you doing? How was your weekend?
I'm good. Quiet weekend. A lot of rain, which I
Yeah,
like.
yeah. I went to bed early on Saturday. I was exhausted, and apparently it rained all night.
Hmm
I did not
And
know.
a lot of yesterday rain also.
Yeah,
So yes.
yesterday morning I got up, I watched my Formula One race, and went back to bed.
hmm
Yeah, for a couple hours I slept.
Pretty overcast this morning also.
I haven't been outside since I came in, so I can't really tell. But yeah, yeah, that was my weekend. Did nothing really. Just some puttering, some stuff I had to do around the house, but that's about it. Nothing much.
It's a quiet weekend for the most part.
Well, quiet. I don't know. It was quiet, but I woke up this morning to read that the gas station by Maritime Roundabout, by Barataria Roundabout, was robbed yesterday afternoon.
Oh, hmm.
Yeah, they were robbed. Church's Chicken, Sunday morning at Independence Square and Henry Street, busy area. And a couple of weeks ago, they broke into the Royal Castle outlet, which is right next door. They came to the roof there. I don't know, Paul.
Well, unfortunately, I can't say I'm surprised.
This crime is
I don't think that any establishment or family may be exempt from crime at this time. And,
no.
and
If you
as you,
could go in the Quasi in San Juan and rob a pensioner, put him on the ground, I don't know. Clearly, we have passed that.
not
And
surprised. Sadly, I know the police are making any headways. I know they charged a couple of people last week for home invasions,
yeah,
so which is good news. But
yeah, that is good. Well done,
maybe
TTPS.
so many damn bandits that charging 7 or 8 people may just be a drop in the bucket. I don't know.
Yeah, it would be a drop in the bucket, but
Um,
it just and somebody did raise this on Saturday, where they're not hearing anything from the authorities. The authorities are very quiet, and I said, I can't remember hearing anything.
Who authorities are they speaking about?
The authorities, the protective services, they said Clearly, she was visibly upset regarding the crime situation. I didn't get into it too much, but um, she said the prime minister is the head of the Security Council. We haven't heard anything from the commissioner of police. We have not heard anything from Fitzgerald Hines. What she said, what is the army doing? Uh,
She was listening to the parliament and last week,
yeah,
clearly. Because they all had a lot to say on it on Friday when they debated some motion of no confidence in the Minister of National Security. There's a
yeah,
lot of discussion on crime on Friday and reported in the media on Friday night and Saturday. So,
yeah. I
and the Prime Minister commented on the crime at the PNM meeting on Thursday. So I don't know how anyone can say,
Yeah.
but
Well,
they say
I
this
don't know
is
what
all
he said on
related
Thursday. What did he say?
last week related to apprehending and charging persons with house invasion, home invasion. So I can't say that the authorities aren't saying anything. I can't agree with that statement.
Yeah. Well, I just
Let's get back to Dream Richards. He sprints to 200-meter silver at the LA Grand Prix. So let me start with some good news this morning. Congratulations to uh, Jareem Richards. He continued his good run of form by taking silver at the men's 200-meter event at LA Grand Prix at Drake Stadium in California on Saturday night. He clocked
mm,
a speed of 20.08 seconds, the season second best time for the TNT athlete in the outdoor track event. He missed out on a golden finish by a very narrow margin as American sprinter and two-time National Collegiate Athletics Association champ Terrence Laird topped in 20.06. So a difference of zero point 0.02 seconds meant the difference between gold and silver. So congratulations to Dream Richards. Let's share some good news this morning.
yeah, we all need some good news. I'm getting buff here. Good morning, Ken E. Godzilla in Valencia. Good morning, Miss Ingrid. Oliver Man Warren. Dennis. Ray out in West Palm Beach, Florida. Manic Monday. Good morning to you. Um, and for you, it's a holiday Monday. It's Memorial Day. Carva Guevara. Good morning to you as well.
Well, it's a long
Michael
weekend for
Gaddis
Sandy
and
people,
Sankofa
right?
says good morning.
It's a long weekend for Trinidad and Tobago.
Yeah, but the roads are busy for me coming in this morning. I don't know if anybody took. I'm guessing some people took the day off. Next week's a short week as well. Next week Thursday, if I recall.
Corpus Christi.
Yeah, yeah,
And
Corpus
then later on in the
Christi.
month, on the 19th, isn't it Labor Day?
Yeah, 19th of
So
June.
got some holidays this month. So it's 3 holidays this month?
Yeah, let me check here.
No, this month into next month. Because Indian Arrival Day is tomorrow, so we have a holiday tomorrow, then the Corpus Christi next week, and then Labor Day. So in the next 4 weeks, we'll have 3 holidays. So I'll put it
Yeah,
that way.
yeah, just checking it there. Yeah, just checking it there.
Thanks for that, eh?
Was that?
I said thanks for the display of your adult
Yeah,
body.
I was got up. Oh yeah, body by doubles. People love body by doubles.
I appreciate it so much.
Don't
It
have
just
any doubles this morning.
made my morning. Thank God I didn't have
Hey,
any
no
to eat.
problem, man. Anytime. I aim to please.
Thank you
I,
so much. I appreciate
yeah,
it.
I aim to please. I aim to please.
What happened over the weekend? Well, today the House meets today to debate the extension municipal corporations thing to validate
Ooh,
what happened in the last couple of months before, since December last year.
mm-hmm.
That's coming up, and the opposition is calling on the government to call the election date. During that debate today, they're calling on the prime minister, I should say, to call the election date. I don't think it'll happen until Wednesday, actually.
Hmm.
I don't think it'll happen until Wednesday. I think, and I don't think he'll do it in. Is it that Wendell usually does it in the house on a
Um,
political platform? I think he said he usually does it in the house. Yeah, yeah. If my memory serves me correctly. So
mm. Good morning to Mrs. P. Okay.
I think we'll get it this week. The election
Yeah,
date.
I think we'll get it this week. Let me just say good morning to a few people joining us on YouTube. Jacinta Nichols, Michael Granison, the great. Good morning, Marcia Rock. Good morning, D. Pierre. Good morning, Power 102 family. It's a holiday today from where I am, Memorial Day. It is. Rena Boodoo Jennings. CJ New York, good morning. DJ Ray, not in Tampa, but still in Delaware. Good morning. Maria Marva. Dre, good morning to you all. Thank you so much for hitting us up this morning via YouTube and our message board on our mobile app and website. Yeah.
Well, some news out of Guyana following that tragic incident where the 15-year-old girl allegedly set fire to the dormitory that resulted in the deaths of 19 children, that she may be charged with 19 counts of murder.
I read that yesterday afternoon.
Mm-hmm.
My Guyanese buddy sent it for me. I said, whoa.
Yeah.
And that's a government built structure, so.
Well, government built or not,
Yeah.
it just speaks to how youth responds these days in some instances. You know, she was corrected and her cell phone taken away for something that the house mother thought she'd done. And her response was to set fire to the place.
Yeah.
You know, speaks to how some youth are these days.
You'd say that again.
Really unfortunate that's the response to being corrected or disciplined. I don't know. That's a really tragic situation, to say the least. You know, you can't think anything but tragedy where that is concerned.
Yeah, it is. It is sad.
And more calls for Fali Augustine to resign.
Yeah. Copenhagen Martin George on this morning.
It's very quiet this morning.
Yeah.
Just in last week, since the audio tape surfaced of somebody alleged to be him, sounds a lot like him to most people, planning with the Secretary of Business to implant people through the assembly to disseminate propaganda and pay them through the assembly, which I'm sorry, that is proposing corruption. And if it is saying he should resign, I agree, he should resign. I don't think he can continue after that sort of display. You're going to stand up in the house in the assembly and talk about honesty and integrity after that? Yeah? And integrity in public life? That the propositions we were hearing there, if it is him, filled with integrity? Making sure that people hired through the assembly to spread news and change the narrative? Okay. I don't know if he thinks this will go away. This is not going away anytime soon, you know.
Oh, no.
He needs, and if it wasn't him, what his record has been, if people have made wrong allegations against him, he's come out and staunchly denied them. Not so? So I think Mr. Augustine should either come out and deny it or accept culpability and do the honorable thing and just say, well, I wasn't talking anything with integrity there, and I should resign. And, you know, but politicians are very reticent to move on from power bases.
Power.
So we see. Anyway, we have Martin George on. You said this morning.
Yeah. I said, I tried calling him, I didn't get him. I sent him a message, and then I woke up to another message, so I'm hoping he gets on. I just sent him the invite, so.
And but there have been calls from several quarters. I know the Minister of Sport and the Minister of Child and Gender Affairs, both of whom are the Tobago MPs for the PNM, had a press conference last week condemning the commentary and calling on Mr. Augustine to resign forthwith, you know. And we see how it goes. I don't think he's going to resign one bit, but I mean, he needs to come out and either clear the air on it. And if he thinks laying low is the way to go and taking the back entrance to the assembly when they have sittings and avoiding the media is going to make it go away, it's not going to go away.
No.
It's not.
Yeah, I don't know.
You have to address it. It's incumbent upon you to address it. Say it's not me, or say it's me, and give us an explanation.
That's all.
Say you all were playing charades, and you all were saying what if.
Ah,
You all were playing what if. What if we did this, and what if you all were playing what if or you weren't serious. But it wasn't me. Somebody take AI and make that my voice and put it out there. Say all that, but it didn't originate from moi. We see how it
yeah.
goes. You know. And of course, the Brent Thomas bacchanal continues.
Yeah, I didn't follow that on the weekend. What happened this weekend with Brent Thomas?
Well, more allegations. This time that Minister of National Security Fitzgerald Hines uh, was in charge of the operations or was directing the operations of the police service uh, in the Brent Thomas affair in Barbados, when he was detained by Barbados authorities and forcibly brought back to Trinidad by the TNT authorities on some ship that we can't confirm yet and some craft that we can't confirm yet. Or have we? And of course, the judge's ruling on that status appeal. And police service putting out a statement on the weekend saying that they deny the allegations by, I think, the leader of the opposition, and that the police is operating independently, and people in the public domain should be careful of what they say because it might undermine the trust and confidence in the police service, yada, yada, yada. TTPS denied Minister Hines was directing the officers through the course of the operation. But we still have not heard who was directing them.
No, it's a big
Dr. Rudolph
secret.
Monidal in a GSC 2 weeks ago asked the commissioner, and she said she couldn't say.
Somebody said go Barbados.
No, they were about to themselves. They just pick up and go on Barbados. Just pick up and decide, let me go Barbados and bring back Brent Thomas now.
Yeah. This I don't know. That case is
Not done anytime soon,
no.
but it's on appeal. So, is that an appeal? Yeah. So later on today, we'll find out. I mean, there's going to be a lot of commentary on that judgment from the Privy Council when they debate that municipal corporation's extension of terms bill later on today. Shall we open the phone lines? Let's see what people think about the Farley Augustine thing and what should happen. And if you all think Farley can continue if it is him, and your commentary also is required on why is he not saying anything? Do you think Mr. Augustine should deny or accept that it is him in the audio clip?
Mm-hmm.
Somebody in that room did that.
8255 toll free North Americans 866-525-1099.
I don't know. Since their landslide victory in the Tobago House of Assembly election, there's so much has happened in that assembly. Is the culture trip to New York, is the fallout with Duke, is the resignation of the members, is the independence spate, is the forming of a new party, and now this. In about a year?
Yeah. This call is for you, Paul. Go ahead.
Morning, darling.
Good morning, my dear.
How are you, sweetheart?
I was in the
You're earlier up and listening to earlier.
You gotta get ready.
Only voices over the weekend.
Only the voice you miss?
Pardon me?
Only the voice you miss?
Paul, you're easy, you know. Listen, Farley can't expect that to go away.
It's not going anywhere soon.
If such an accusation is made, he needs to come out and say something. If it's not you, it's not
That's
you.
not me. That's not me.
You
That's
understand? But we cannot have another room 204. It's 204. And think that it won't just go away. This one is real. That sounds to me like, what you call it, analytical. I know.
Did we
Sorry.
ask about the police involvement last week or not, or something else? Should the
If
police get involved? I think we asked that.
yeah,
Is that what we
Yeah,
asked?
we did, man. I think we spoke
yeah,
about that.
I find. So I don't know if
No, we asked if fresh elections should be called.
yes,
That's what
but
we asked on Friday. We should ask
well,
today if the
for
police should become involved in investigating that audio
I
tape.
think I think it should we have to first get the fact and see
Well, that's what the police will go and find out. The police will find out if it's
yes,
him.
yes, and if that is it, it has to
But
be.
what are we asking the police to investigate? Tell me.
You know, Trinidad and Tobago like to pussyfoot over nonsense and too long.
But it's nonsense.
That should have been no. Well, I talking about that when I say so pussyfoot about certain things too long. That should have been investigation should have been.
That is no nonsense. That is real serious thing they're talking. They're proposing there. Real serious things.
Yeah, well, it's serious. That's why I say that.
Disturbing and concerning things.
Yes, especially when it involves money from taxpayers' money coming to
Yep.
you.
That's exactly the point. If the person in the audio clip is proposing that they hire people in the assembly to make sure they have a good income, but what they're really intending to do with them is to promote propaganda to change the narrative in Trinidad and Tobago.
Yeah.
So we're really hiring them. Was he really in here hiring them to do assembly work?
And two voices, clear. So that needs proper investigation, and they have to get on it right away.
So what are you asking the police to investigate? That's what I want you to tell us.
Pardon me, I didn't hear that.
What are we asking the police to investigate specifically? Do you think a law has been broken? Because that's how the police get involved in. The police can't get involved in investigating old talk. The police can't get involved if someone feels a law has been broken. Good morning, Mr. Ragobarsingh.
Hi, good morning, guys.
All right,
Am I wrong with that?
yes.
We can't tell the police to investigate if it's he voice. We got to give the police something specific to investigate. If we think a law has been broken. Am I wrong, Richard?
Well, yeah, the police it's only if a potential crime has
Been
been
committed.
committed that the police can investigate. So if that crime has been committed, yes.
Exactly. Oh, yeah. All right, Zena. Pull it up. Zena?
She left.
She left. So good morning, guys. Good morning to our listeners wherever you are, and of course a special good morning to our listeners in Tobago. We are
You can
on
push
the
too.
countdown to Tobago for this little piggy is tired, which is taking place this Saturday, coming in Tobago at Shore Park at 8:30 p.m. So looking forward to it.
You can fresh, so you sleep this weekend, not?
Well, I said this slept this weekend, not so much last night, but yeah, but this weekend I got some rest.
You can
I
tell.
did. I did.
You recently can drag down like last week.
It was that?
Maybe I should rephrase that. Your face looks better than last week.
You're bad.
Oh gosh, if my camera's a little lower. Yes.
Yes, we were talking about the Farley Augustine, the alleged Farley Augustine audio tape.
Or the video, not video, the audio
The audio
that has
tape.
been
And the
making
fact
the rounds.
that-
Do you
that-
know I have not listened to that audio in its entirety? I mean, I've just heard snippets of it. I think it was in our group at one point. And I
I'm
just-
surprised that he hasn't come out and denied it.
No, he hasn't said anything. Well, he's just avoided media. Is he still avoiding media?
You're avoiding the media.
Well, that was the claim last week that he was avoiding media. Media was saying that he was avoiding media.
Well, they said that he went into the assembly through the back entrance. He and the woman alleged to be with him in the audio tape. They both entered through the back entrance. That's what the media reported. And I don't know how people can be making these serious allegations about you and you not come out and vehemently deny it if it's not you to protect your reputation. Not so?
Yeah.
You know, you ain't going away. You could just come out and say, it's not me, that is not me, or you're talking foolishness, it's not me.
Mhm.
You understand? Ooh, look at him, look. DS Lips Celeste. Be careful, you know. Look so hot as usual, Rich. This is how you're seeing this? This is how you have some competition, Gil. Watch yourself.
Let me do a folly. No comment. I'm not saying a word. Just stay quiet.
But he didn't even say no comment.
Well, I
Everything.
like I said, let me do a
He don't
folly.
even say no comment. He just not saying anything.
Yeah,
That's to me untenable.
yeah. I mean,
That this audio tape going on.
transparency, which is why
Yeah.
politicians need to be held at the highest standard possible. So that even if you are being secretly recorded, you should not be saying anything that besmirches your character.
Well,
Because the level of your, especially I don't know if that because that conversation was dealing with official business of some sort.
well, they were proposing that to deal with some level of official business at the assembly, where they were proposing people be hired. When you're proposing people be hired to give them an income for one purpose, and also proposing that, well, that is the cover for what you really want them to do. That's the implication I got from the audio anyway. To go on social media and digital media and disseminate propaganda. But the word propaganda was used
Yep.
to change the narrative or to manage the narrative on national issues. It opens the door to, is that ethical behavior? You hiring them for, if you're hiring somebody in the assembly.
Of course, it's not ethical behavior.
Yeah. And the video also said, we have some here already, it's just to get some more. Which means people may have already been hired for that purpose or others and being called upon to engage in this sort of activity in terms of propaganda, which means, I mean, really? I mean, we know it happened, but to get an audio tape from a politician at that level saying it is something completely different, you understand?
Well, I mean, Mr. Gusson at this point just has to come out and say something. Even if it's not him, or if he's saying it's not him, then say that.
Exactly, that's my point. If all these allegations and him jumping up and talk, the person on the audio tube, the male voice anyway, is proposing to the female voice that we do X, Y, and Z, and we do 1, 2, and 3. I'm trying to find it to play it back this morning so that
he just should defend his reputation.
Yeah.
Yep.
Not defend reputation alone, defend the fact that you didn't say this thing. The other big news this weekend, before I find it, while I'm looking for it, is Joel Osteen endorsing Dr. Conrad Murray opening an office in Trinidad and Tobago.
Is it an office or is it a medical something?
A medical center? Well, an office, medical center?
No, because he's had an office before. He been practicing.
But a medical center.
So it's something different. You're minimizing the man's achievement by calling it an office. It's not an office. It's something more than that.
You bringing back Michael Jackson?
No,
endorse the office too?
Well, it's something. Well, Joel Osteen has his following.
That's a big endorsement.
Yeah. Doesn't he have the largest church in the United States?
One of the, anyway.
Yeah, so.
One of the.
And he is a charismatic preacher, I'll give him that.
Very much so. That's why I say it's a big endorsement.
Yeah, he's very charismatic.
It's a very big endorsement.
So, I mean.
Would you go to I think you've done really right one here. Afraid to put back some of these videos on this thing and trouble us. Right, there's the right one. I think I played the wrong video on this thing. Lord, the trouble here. Then they go say, poor Richard, bring up that video and play it here. Yeah. Joel Osteen commands one of the largest churches in the U.S. So that endorsement, endorsing Dr. Conrad Murray's involvement in this medical center is huge.
Mm-hmm.
You understand? So, I mean, you can't get better than that. Someone said, I'm not sure that his license may have been revoked in the U.S. following the Michael Jackson thing. I think he has some investigation. Let me Google it and see.
I think he was barred for a while. I don't know if it's still.
Yeah,
I don't know if it
still
was
is.
for a number of years or if it was permanently. Because remember there was an issue when Dr. Murray came and he was practicing in Trinidad and people were wondering X, Y, and Z. But
Yeah, look, Dr. Conrad Murray, this is TMZ reporting, eh? Dr. Conrad Murray, Michael Jackson's doctor at the time of his death, will retain his medical license. TMZ reports that after a meeting with the Nevada Medical State Board on Friday, the doctor proved he was up to date on child support payments still to practice medicine.
so he has his license.
Texas Magazine also reported Dr. Conrad Murray will keep his medical license. So you see, so
So yeah, so he's been practicing in Trinidad for a while.
yeah,
He's been here for a while. I saw him once at that restaurant week thing. You know, there's a restaurant week. I saw him once at restaurant week at Passage to India. I think I was at that time. I think he was there. Yeah.
Yeah. So here's the going back to the Farley or the alleged audio tape of Farley Augustine. Here it is.
But even if it is find the plan, create the plan, the strategy or whatever, bring it here once you get approval. Whether it is, you see, 13 people now, you might just need 5 or 7 to do strict PR, so you could use some to do some propaganda. Whether they're going to use fake profiles, whether they're going to use their own profiles, whatever they do. And what you will have to consider is finding a way to employ people on the THA side. Could be menial tasks.
We don't have to pay. Yeah, most of them kind of got away to Chanel, and we found that.
And most of them kind of get employed already.
Yeah. So that's the others who not employed to bring them in because they are happy to do the thing on the side voluntarily. Once we employ them 8 to 4 in a lucrative.
So they get income.
Yes, that is what we know. So we will organize.
And that will help. That will help even with as I was indicating. With the challenge you raised in terms of how to be organized responding to the moves in Trinidad, that can help in shaping the narrative. Because about shaping the narratives. I don't want us to stop campaigning and then switch it back.
But it's clear you're a politician because they don't want to stop campaigning. You understand? It's somebody who in a party in Tobago.
Yeah.
Because you talk about campaigning, and we have 13 here already in the assembly. We just need to hire some others to do menial tasks because the woman said they're happy to do it anyway on the side, but we just want to make sure they have an income in the assembly. And if people are alleging that's you, as we said, come out and say, that is not me, you know. Let's run it through a voice spectrometer to analyze the frequencies and things. But then AI growing so good these days, anybody could do anything, you know. I saw a video of an example of what AI can do, and one of the older retired basketball stars, somebody in one of the tech companies showed him what AI can do. They put him to stand and they scanned on a cell phone all around him, his body, right? His full body, and pressed a button, inserted that in a video of new basketballers playing, and put him in the basketball game to replace one of the other guys, the younger guys, running, dribbling, dunking, the full 9. Yeah. I mean, it's not perfect yet, but it's getting there.
Yeah. Well, they have all sorts of deep fakes now. Well, that's why Sundar Pichai had said that it's going to be more transformative, that it's going to be as transformative as fire to human civilization. That's not a small statement.
Light statement.
Yeah. That's a statement of considerable,
gravitas. And weight. So
he's at the helm of a company that is deep into AI. So
As I always say, what released to the public is not what's on the cutting edge,
No. And
Cutting edge
all
in
of
a
this
lab,
is
in a
really,
lab
I think
somewhere.
all of this conversation on AI really started. I mean, there's always been a conversation, there's always been this stuff of science fiction. But certainly from a contemporary perspective in terms of the reality of it, not the science fiction of it, and the issue of sentience and whether AI can be sentient, of course, surfaced with that ex-employee or ex-engineer from Google who said, I remember, and he claimed that he went on a round of interview shows talking about how he believed the AI was sentient. And Google, of course, was denying it and saying, no, it's not.
Another big story that broke over the weekend, I sent the information to you, is that China is expecting a new wave of COVID-19 infections.
I saw it, but I didn't read it. I saw when you sent it,
And
but
I
I
checked
didn't
the date on it, and the date was current. And there's a new wave of COVID-19 developing in China, and they're projecting as many as 40 million people could become infected. Now, keep in mind, China has 1 billion people. So 40 million is a small segment of the population, but still. You think we passed COVID?
Well,
Or
I
just be
think,
here in different iterations?
yeah, I think COVID is here to stay.
Mm-hmm.
It's endemic. It will be coming. I don't know if it's categorized as endemic yet. If the WHO is saying it's no longer an emergency, it's tacit saying it's now endemic. I don't know. I don't know what the protocols are. But certainly, that's how some scientists from the start said that that's where we're going to head.
Yeah, that's true, including Dr. Ora, who's been with us several times through the pandemic. He said we'll come to the point where it's endemic, and we just have to live with it like a common flu or whatever,
Yeah.
and take the necessary precautions. So, but that's the projection of because of a new wave of infections in China, and at one point China was the epicenter. It is certainly the original ground zero point for infections for COVID-19 3 years ago, whenever it was, 2019, late 2019, early 2020, thereabouts. So we'll see. I see also the Ministry of Health has put up an information. We're leading in NCDs in Trinidad and Tobago. And we really need to make some lifestyle changes in the country. Let me see if I can get it up. Yeah. And looking to put programs in place or continue programs to deal with NCDs in Trinidad and Tobago.
One of the basic informational things they can do, which I've indicated to, I think, several ministers of health, is the issue of calorie counting and forcing everybody, restaurants, street food vendors, to put a calorie count of what you're about to eat.
You mean the accurate calorie count?
Yeah, it assists people. It assists people in making a decision. It assists people in not eating as much as they were planning to eat.
Or not eating certain things.
That's one thing you can do. That's one thing you can do. But when a calorie count is there, you look at it, huh?
Yeah, you look at it. It impacts your decision.
It impacts your decision. What you're gonna choose. If you know our doubles is 500 calories, and you are planning to, wow, we're gonna eat about 5. When you reach there, you might say, let me just eat 2, eh?
You're not effective at all.
Because the sign is staring at you in your face. You are eating 500 calories per doubles or whatever it is. I don't know if it's 500. I'm just giving a figure. But those are simple things you can do if you're serious. But it may not be so simple, but because it means businesses that sell food have to now, pivot to including that information. But some do it already.
Yeah, they should. It's a matter of national health and the amount of money we spend in treating NCDs and the carnage it costs. So I'm suggesting the question be, do you think the TCPS should become involved in investigating the Tobago audio tape issue? I ain't put no value in that. right?
Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
The audio tape issue. Yeah. All right. Do you have papers?
No, I don't.
Yeah.
I
I want
don't have it on this Monday morning, and of course, we have a holiday tomorrow. Tomorrow is Indian Arrival Day,
Yeah.
and so it's almost like a holiday week. Is there a holiday next week too?
Yep. Corpus Christi.
Okay.
Right.
So,
So it's on Monday, the 29th of May. Let's start with the Guardian Online. Judge in Zika virus judicial review hearing. Health Ministry failed to provide specialized care for boy. Political scientists weigh in on the now controversial local government polls. Judge gives HDC clearance to evict woman illegally for illegally occupying home for 10 years. Prison Association supports officers in silent protest over 4% wage increase. Tobago Hindu Society celebrates Indian Arrival Day. Endorsing tells Heritage Petroleum come clean on hiring new CEO. And Amin tells Rowley called the date for local government elections in Parliament on Monday, and Farley still silent on propaganda talk after 1 week. Let's move now to the Newsday Online. Mom of boy born with microcephaly or children deserve better care or deserve care. UNC government created a method of local government. Ghanaian student 15 to be charged for horrific school fire. Joint Chambers and PCA meet to discuss crime fighting strategies. Couple robbed trying to sell television in Laventil. The search continues for a Sangre Grande toddler. This story started to circulate over the weekend. A 2-year-old child is missing still after a whole week. That's such sad news.
Mm-hmm.
And Jareem Richards sprints the 200-meter silver at LA Grand Prix. We move now to the Express Online.
you did the Guardian already?
Yes, I did.
Oh, I just opened the Guardian.
And we move now to the Express. Gone to the Dogs, an activist who infiltrated the San Fernando Dog Pound and recorded videos of the animals placed there on Saturday unless the animals were abandoned. Call the date now. United National Congress wants Prime Minister Rowley to call the local government election date when Parliament convenes today to debate the Municipal Corporation's extension of term bill. Earlier, Hines not calm over statements. A great hurdle to overcome. This was in the Express up to yesterday, where they focused on body cameras in the police service. Sunday Express continues an expose on massive corruption during the Piaco Airport Development Project, and 2 charged in home invasions. So those are trending stories in your Express, Guardian, and Newsday for today, Monday, the 29th of May, 2023.
All right. Thank you, Paul.
You talked about
Of course, let me give you.
You talked
What's
about
that?
as part of the headlines. Did you talk about the judgment
Which judgment?
for the child that had Zika?
Yes, well, I didn't talk about it, but I read it in the headlines.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. All right. So it's 6:48.
Yeah, let's get the results of our poll from Friday, where we asked you once the voice note has been identified as Farley Augustine, should elections be called in Tobago? That was our poll Friday. Results after this.
Furniture Plus has mega mattress deals for you. Shop queen mattresses from as low as $799. Plus, get up to 20% off select Serta and ceiling mattresses with free gifts. Combos, bases, and accessories are also on sale. Check press and social media for details.
All right. Once the voice note has been identified as Farley Augustine, should elections in Tobago be called? 60%, 60, said yes. 60% said yes. All right, let's get into our poll.
All right, the poll this morning, we're staying with that Tobago voice note issue. And the question is, do you think the TTPS should become involved in investigating the Tobago audio tape issue? Yes or no? Do you think the TTPS should become involved in investigating the Tobago audio tape issue? Yes or no?
Okay, so you heard that's our poll this morning. So 222 talk 222-8255. North Americans 866-525-1099. Let me say that a little slower. 866 525-1099, and that's absolutely toll free. People in other parts of the planet, 1-868-222-TALK, 222-8255, and of course, people on the web and the app, you know what to do. To vote, use the messaging portal on those platforms and send in your vote, yes or no. Our poll this morning, do you think that the TTPS should get involved in investigating the Tobago audio tape? Is it audio tape, he said? The Tobago audio.
Audio recording.
Yeah, the Tobago audio.
Good morning.
Yes or no? Do you think the TTPS should investigate it? Yes or no? What's your opinion?
Good morning, gentlemen. Good morning.
Morning.
Good morning.
I said yes. And what about the lady also? Thank you. You all have a blessed day.
All right.
You too.
Thank you so much. Good morning, Duke Street West, Rampage, Carol Guevara. Good morning to you. Good morning, Ms. Maloney, Leonard Naipaul, Anthony Tinto. Edwin Marshall says yes to the poll. All right.
That's one person saying yes, is that?
Sorry, that's one yes.
Okay.
D says one doubles average 345 calories. Ms. Bonnie West says yes. Dennis says no. Trev and Arima says yes. Trini Jam says yes to the poll. All right. Get those hits coming. Get those calls coming. Once again, our morning poll, Richie Rich.
Do you think that the TTPS, the Trinidad and Tobago Police Service, should investigate the Tobago audio recording? That's our poll this morning. Do you think that Tobago audio tape should be investigated, audio recording, sorry, should be investigated by the Trinidad and Tobago Police Service? Yes or no?
Good morning.
Yes, morning again. Yes.
All righty. Thank you so much. Leonard Naipaul says yes. Thank you, Leonard. Out in North Carolina. Yep, 222-8255. Toll free North Americans, 866-525-1099. Do you think the TTPS should get involved in investigating the Tobago audio recording? Yes or no? All right, simple question. Simple. Yes or no?
That's our poll. What
Chris
says
Arena
you?
says yes. Thank you, Chris. DJ Ray says no. Thank you, DJ Ray.
So 222-TALK, 222-8255, North Americans, 866-525-1099. People on the web and the app, you know what to do. People in other parts of the planet, 1-868-222-TALK, 222-8255. Our poll this morning, do you think that the TTPS, the Trinidad and Tobago Police Service, should investigate the Tobago audio recording? Yes or no? Do you think they should investigate it? Yes. Or do you think no? You don't think it's anything there for them to investigate, so it's just wasting police time?
Yeah. Good morning, caller.
Morning, Paul Richard, Steve. Ragobarsingh, Steve. Good morning, everybody.
Morning.
Mr. Patrick.
How do you know this song, Shaggy song? It wasn't me. Paul Richard, I want to ask a question. What happened to the assistant mayor of Port of Spain? Are you reading?
Helen. Yeah, I tried to reach him over the weekend. I didn't get it.
I was reading that now. I ain't nothing, nobody talk about it.
The way he resigned.
Yeah. You see, he trained his sponge. You don't know that.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
So what's your vote, Mr. Patrick? You didn't give a vote?
He didn't vote.
Oh, he's gone.
He gone, yeah.
So our poll this morning, do you think that the TTPS should investigate the Tobago audio tape? Yes or no? You could think yes. You think it's something they should investigate. You could say no. You don't think there's anything to investigate there. What's your vote? That's what we need to know this morning.
GB says yes. Thank you, GB. All right. Do you think the TTPS should get involved in investigating the Tobago audio recording? Yes or no? Hit us up on YouTube, on our message board, on our mobile app or website, or give us a call at 222-8255 and North Americans 866-525-1099. Yep. Let's take another call. Good morning.
Morning, Grandy. No.
Randy says no. All right, Grandy, thank you so much. Stretch. Once it's illegal, yes. Thank you so much, Stretch. Yeah, all right. You have 3 minutes again to vote before we head up our major news at 7 with Evie. She'll be in. I'm hearing her loud mouth already. So let's get it. Lorna. Morning, Lorna. Morning, Indy. Morning, Carly. Yes, they should. Thank you so much, Lorna. All right. Let's see. Big guy. Investigate what? No. Thank you, big guy. Thank you so much. As you enjoy your holiday today in the U.S. Last week, Monday, it was a holiday in Canada, Victoria Day. Now it's your turn. Mr. Carapo says, Mr. Carapo, you didn't vote. You just said good morning. Thank you so much. No. He says no. Thank you, Mr. Carapo. Mm-hmm. 222-8255. Toll-free North Americans, 866-525-1099. Piggy Ray is in the house. Yes. To authenticate the voices. Thank you, Piggy Ray. Alistair Hart. Good morning. Yes. To the poll. Thank you so much, Alistair. All right. 222-8255.
Do you think that the TTPS should investigate the Tobago audio recording? That's our poll this morning. Do you think it's something that's worth investigating by the TTPS? Yes or no? 222-TALK, 222-8255, North Americans, 866-525-1099. People on the web and the app, you know what to do. And of course, it's Memorial Day in the United States. It's a holiday for you all. You know, and I know it's a big travel day too. So a lot of people in the United States, would have gone for the weekend wherever.
Yeah.
Would have been a big travel weekend. So happy Memorial Day to, friends and family in the United States.
Yeah. Enjoy your holiday. Holiday. We got that tomorrow. So, of course, we would not be in tomorrow.
No, tomorrow Trinidad and Tobago has a holiday.
Indian Arrival Day.
Indian Arrival Day. So we'll be celebrating that tomorrow.
Yeah, let's see. Rena Boodoo Jennings. Morning, Rena. Yes. Kenny out in Harlem says yes. Miss Ingrid in Tucson, Arizona, my answer to the poll is no. Thank you, Miss Ingrid, Kenny, Rena, Carol. Carol, you vote twice. You're supposed to vote once, eh, Carol? All right. Good. Oh, missed that call. All right. All right, we're supposed to have Mr. Martin George next hour. We do have Watson Duke after 8. He couldn't make it at 7 o'clock hour, so he'll come on after 8. We'll chat with him and see what he thinks about local government elections and THA and so on. Mo Guest. Good morning to you, Mo Guest. Says yes. Thank you, Mo Guest. All right.
So, poll this morning, in case you're now joining us, do you think that the Tobago audio recording should be investigated by the TTPS? That's our poll this morning. Do you think it meets the standard of being investigated by the TTPS? I suppose this is really what you'll be asking you. Some people are saying no, and some people are saying yes. Of course, I'll give you the results after the news. But that's our poll this morning. Do you think that the TTPS should investigate the Tobago audio recording? Yes or no? You can have an opinion that comes on either side of the fence. We just want to know what it is. So 222-TALK, 222-8255, North Americans, 866-525-1099, which is absolutely toll-free. And, of course, people in other parts of the planet, 1-868-222-TALK, 222-8255.
Mm-hmm. I don't think news know what time it is.
Yes, so we're still taking your votes as we wait for AV to come in to read the news. So you have a little extra time. Oh, I'm hearing her coming in.
All right, let's get into our news.
This is your news bulletin from Power 102 Digital.
The Opposition United National Congress wants Prime Minister Dr. Keith Rowley to call the local government election date when the Parliament convenes today. The TTPS denies allegations that senior officers are coercing officers implicated in the Brent Thomas matter to protect the National Security Minister. And Guyanese media are reporting that the 15-year-old girl who allegedly set the female dormitory of the Mahdia Secondary School on fire will be charged with 19 counts of murder. Details in a moment. This is News to 7 o'clock on Power 102 Digital. I'm Avril Sindel Bab. Good morning. The Opposition United National Congress wants Prime Minister Dr. Keith Rowley to call the local government election date when the Parliament convenes today to debate the Municipal Corporation's Extension of Terms of Office and Validation Bill 2023. Speaking at the UNC's Sunday media briefing, Opposition MP Khadija Amin accused Dr. Rowley of brexing from calling the election. Amin called on the country to make a strong showing at the polls and expressed dissatisfaction with the government, adding that the postponement of the local government election was an action that flew in the face of democracy. She accused the PNM of making a mess of the situation and constantly trying to make excuses for the fiasco.
Stop making excuses and trying to explain the maths in your own way. The Privy Council has ruled, and yet we continue to have all these excuses from the PNM. If you so believe that the Privy Council was wrong, if you so believe that the opposition is making mischief, if your name man, don't go to the parliament tomorrow. Stay home. Pull away that bill that you want to extend the term of office of local government representatives. If you so believe you are right. But the fact is you are wrong. This is your mess. The Privy Council is the last court of appeal for Trinidad and Tobago, and we must respect that. And so the PNM is wrong, and they must fix the problem.
She told the PNM to accept that they were wrong and move on.
Part of the PNM's problem is that they are paying to get legal opinions that favor their political agenda. So when you pay the piper and you get a tune that is suitable to yourself and the rest of the world knows it is wrong, it is wrong. You must accept the Privy Council decision. This is your mess. You have lost. The UNC told you that your decision to extend the local government term and postpone local government election was illegal. Accept it and move on. And stop trying to make excuses. Stop trying to blame the UNC. Stop trying to blame the Privy Council.
The Trinidad and Tobago Police Service is denying allegations that senior officers are coercing officers implicated in the Brent Thomas matter to modify their reports to protect the National Security Minister Fitzgerald Hines. The TTPS gave this response as it noted a media release purported to have been issued by the leader of the opposition on Saturday, which urged TTPS officers to seek legal advice and tell the country the truth about the Brent Thomas matter. In a media release, the TTPS also denied that Minister Hines was directing the officers throughout the course of the operation. Haywood Christopher responded yesterday that while it was not the intention of the Office of the Commissioner to be distracted from its mandate of preventing and detecting crime and to be lured into responding to every specious allegation that is made against it, this case qualifies as an exception because it strikes at the root of the integrity of the organization. Hines also slammed Prasad Basessa's statement yesterday. He said that he strongly condemned the conduct of the opposition leader for interfering in the affairs of the operational activities of the TTPS, and in doing so with a view to influencing them and influencing the outcome of ongoing investigations. He went on to state quite reprehensibly she is accusing police officers of lying at the request of politicians. This, he maintained, is an unprecedented and dangerous attack on the independence of and the integrity of the Trinidad and Tobago Police Service. Prison officers are being commended for the display of resilience and dedication, even amid the various challenges they face as they carry out their duties. The compliment comes from Prison Commissioner Deo Prasad Rambuta at their recent annual Sports and Family Day. Commissioner Rambuta cited challenges experienced during the COVID-19 pandemic, the need for an improved compensation package, and working in adverse conditions.
We have spoken about not having enough compensation package. We have spoken about COVID, lockdown, springing back from that. We have chosen resilience in times of adversity. Adversity is a word or something we're well familiar with. Adverse conditions, various hardships that we have to undergo in our daily lives. But the issue of resilience is practiced, but not really highlighted or underscored or given credit for.
You are listening to news on Power 102 Digital to 7 o'clock. Guyanese media are reporting that the 15-year-old girl who allegedly set the female dormitory on fire of the Mahdia Secondary School will be charged with 19 counts of murder. Guyanese police have claimed that the suspect set the fire after a cell phone was confiscated by the house mother. A report from Guyanese media outlet The Newsroom said that the file was sent to the police with recommendations that the girl faces a murder charge for each life claimed in the horrific fire. A total of 19 children died in the devastating fire, while another 29 girls were injured. Finally, here is weather news for the period today till midnight. Trinidad and Tobago settled conditions becomes increasingly interrupted by isolated showers from late morning into early afternoon. There is a low to medium chance some of these showers could become heavy and or thundery, especially near southern and western areas of Trinidad. Conditions would improve by late evening to give a mostly fair night. Look out for a forecast maximum temperature of 32 degrees Celsius at Piarco International Airport and 30 degrees Celsius at Crown Point in Tobago. It is 26 degrees Celsius at both localities. Recapping your headlines at 7 o'clock, the Opposition United National Congress wants Prime Minister Dr. Keith Rowley to call the local government election date when the Parliament convenes today. The TTPS denies allegations that senior officers are coercing officers implicated in the Brent Thomas matter to protect the National Security Minister. And Guyanese media says that the 15-year-old girl who allegedly set fire to the female dormitory of the Madhya Secondary School on fire will be charged with 19 counts of murder. I'm Avril Sindilbab. That was news to 7 o'clock on Power 102 Digital. Look out for more news coming your way at 12 noon today and an update at 8 o'clock this morning. For more details, log on to power102fm.com.
Up to date and credible. Power 102 Digital.
Alrighty, thank you. 12 minutes after the hour of 7 o'clock. Thank you so much, Avril, for our major news. Of course, we have a news brief coming up at 8 o'clock. Quickly, let's take a look at what's happening traffic-wise. It is lighter than usual in comparison to Friday, but you still got some traffic. San Fernando, extremely light. Gasparillo to Couva, you got some volume there, and then Rivulet Road. You got traffic. Chase Village towards Sugargones. Of course, that main road is a bit busy. Leaving Sugargones, heading to Cardi, not bad at all. Cardi roundabout towards the Churchill Roosevelt Highway. You've got some there. Getting over Valencia Stretch. Trinidad City to UE on the highway. You've got some. Slow going on the Eastern Main Road from Aruca, heading up straight towards San Juan. And volume again, interchange heading into Port of Spain. From Barataria, it gets a little heavier. Out of Maraval, you'll get it. Yeah, just after Moncoco Road. All right? So there you go. Out of Digo, I got no problems to tell you about. That's a quick traffic update for you. Let's check to see if we got any more votes. Where is Wendell? I don't know. He said he was coming on this morning. Yeah. All right. I'll ask Paul to do that. To play the recording. Right. Okay, so let's get the results. Paul, if you can play the recording, I got a couple messages here that they haven't heard it. I know you have it. Yeah.
But I can give the results.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
The poll this morning was, do you think that the TTPS should investigate a Tobago audio recording? We had 22 people voting on the poll this morning. Of the 22, 16 of you said yes, they should investigate it. 6 of you said no, they should not. So 16-6 was our results this morning. That's our results on the poll this morning. 16-6, 16 saying yes, 6 saying no. Of course, you can continue to vote on this poll throughout the day and throughout the day, through all programming, and we give the final results on Wednesday, because tomorrow's a holiday.
Even if it is, find the plan, create the plan, the strategy or whatever, bring it here once you get approval. Whether it is, you see, 13 people now, you might just need 5 or 7 to do strict PR, so you could use some propaganda. Whether they're going to use fake profiles, whether they're going to use their own profiles, whatever they do. And what we will have to consider is finding a way to employ people on the THA side. Could be menial tasks.
We don't have to pay. Yeah, most of them kind of got away to Chanel, and we found out.
And most of them kind of get employed already.
Yeah. So that's phasing others who not employed to bring them in, because they are happy to do the thing on the side voluntarily. Once we employ them 8 to 4 in a lucrative.
So they get income.
Yes, that is what we know. So we will organize.
And that will help. That will help, even with as I was indicating. With the challenge you raised in terms of how to organize are responding to the moves in Trinidad, that can help in shaping the narrative. Because about shaping the narratives. I don't want us to stop campaigning and then switch it back to some propaganda. Whether they're going to use fake profiles, whether they're going to use their own profiles, but even if it is fine.
That's basically it.
Yeah. All right, guys. So there you go. You've heard it.
Hasn't denied it yet. It's him. I guess he playing wait and see.
Who's that?
Mr. Augustine.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, clearly. I mean, you wait long enough, it'll go away. I think not.
Mm-hmm.
Not in this political environment. So he should come out and say that that's not me, and people should stop saying it's me. You know? Or say it's me and explain yourself.
Yep. That's all.
Why shouldn't we think that's unethical? And if you're willing to do unethical things, why should you remain as chief secretary? You understand?
Mm-hmm.
So, haven't seen anybody like that.
If you are holding yourself to be transformative, you can't engage in the same tactics of old and call yourself transformative if it is you. So it is really incumbent on you to explain, because you've held up yourself as being transformative. And people do want transformative leadership in Trinidad
and separating yourself from someone. Excuse me. And separating yourself from someone who you suggest is unworthy because of their actions. So.
Exactly. So you have to hold yourself. Accountability and transparency is a hell of a thing, and in the Caribbean we haven't always had our fair share of transparency and accountability in politics. And so if you are really holding yourself to be that benchmark, you need to come out and say something.
And as somebody
if it was you, then say, well, it was me, and it maybe you could say maybe it was not my best hour. You know, I got caught up in the politics of the old, and in terms of what people would have done in the past, and because you could say all of that, and you could say, I unfortunately was, you know,
and the lady being accused also in the video.
Say that again.
Martin, you're on it, so be careful.
Yeah.
The lady is saying it also in the audio.
She also needs, because apparently she's the secretary of some kind of the other.
Oh, I don't know who she is.
So he's not the only one.
Plays out. Or you can simply say that, but you're right, Paul. You can say it wasn't me. If it wasn't you, and say that wasn't me, and that's a deep fake, and that's something that, you know, somebody, you know, put together to besmirch my character, and I'm not going to stand for it. I'm not going to allow it to occupy the public space without any comment from my part.
Exactly. But silence in this situation is an option. And silence for so long.
Yeah, silence doesn't help you.
No, it does not. I see Martin has logged on, but he hasn't turned on his camera.
Okay.
Morning, Martin George, are you hearing us? Hello?
probably organizing himself, I guess.
He's probably organizing himself.
I want to
Yeah. Yeah. So, and she's been silent. It's come out a whole week now, and we've heard nothing. In fact, what we saw, according to a media report, is he chose to enter the assembly through an inconspicuous entrance.
Mm-hmm.
In other words, he didn't go through the front door. You know? Right. Good morning, Martin George. Are you hearing us?
Yes, hi. Good morning, Paul. Good morning, Steve. Good morning, Richard. And good morning, Trinidad and Tobago.
Morning, Martin. How are you?
Camera today?
Yeah, I'm off camera today.
Okay. All right. Morning. Thanks for joining us.
Yeah, sure.
Well, we were talking about the audio clip that's circulating, purported to be that of the voice of THFC Secretary Fadi Augustine and Secretary of Business in the Assembly. And let's just hear your initial take on it.
Well, the thing is, I mean, I wouldn't want to comment on that particular clip because, I mean, the source of it has not yet been verified. But I mean, I can comment generally on the question of, business and morality in public affairs, and certainly the ideas which appeared to be espoused in that video clip are certainly not in keeping with the ideas of good governance. They're not in keeping with the ideas of transparency, accountability, and I mean proper use of public funds, because there appeared to be discussion of using the THA as basically a sort of slush fund, so to speak, to fund jobs for persons who were basically engaged in political propaganda. And I mean, certainly that is not something that is acceptable on any level. I mean, while persons may have had suspicions of things like that happening, if it is that it is revealed that this is an act.
Did we lose him?
Martin, we lost your audio.
Yes,
right.
I think we lost him there. Yeah, so you're going to message him, Steve, and let him know? Yeah. Or he may be still talking and is unaware that we've lost him.
Okay.
All right, there you are.
Are you hearing me now?
Yeah, we lost you for a little bit.
Okay, all right. Yeah, so what I was saying is that, I mean, as a general principle, I mean, what was discussed in that audio clip is certainly not in keeping with the principles or tenets of good governance or, transparency or accountability in public affairs. Of course, we always have to remember that former Prime Minister Basdio Pandey said politics has a morality of its own, but when you are faced with the stark nakedness of that reality, it's never something that anyone is happy to confront.
Is it incumbent upon him to come out and make a public statement either refuting it's him or accepting it's him?
Well, I mean, if it is that persons are calling names, then, I mean, there would, I guess, be some sort of pressure being put on you to say, well, hey, listen, is it me or is it not me? We all remember the infamous video clip of a former, member of the PPP who was seen with what appeared to be a very long cigarette in a very dazed type of condition with some females in a room. And I mean, the face and the image appeared fairly clear to most people, but he came out and he made a statement and he did a la Shaggy. He said, it wasn't me.
Yeah, but take the personality out of it. This is accusations are being made purporting to be suggested unethical behavior of someone they're suggesting is the chief secretary. To protect the integrity of the office even, shouldn't he come out and say, that is not me? And I refute that? Martin,
we lost you again.
I don't know if it probably is mobile and going through spots.
I don't know. Martin George.
Are you hearing me now?
I'm
We're hearing
hearing you
you now.
now. Are you mobile or?
Yeah, the signal keeps coming and going, unfortunately.
Yeah, what I
Wonderful.
was saying, that taking the personalities out of it, these are accusations being made about somebody holding the office of chief secretary. To protect the integrity of the office, shouldn't some statement be made by the office of the chief secretary?
Well, that's what I'm thinking, that, as a matter of good governance and accountability, there ought to be some sort of, clarification one way or the other, as to, well, was it me? Was it not me? Who is it? What is it about? I think there ought to be some clarification. I can't see it being the type of situation that you just ignore and hope that it goes away. But this is Trinidad and Tobago. We have seen these types of accusations and even worse occurring, and we've seen persons, just dig their heels in and ignore, and eventually it seems to blow away, disappear like a 9 days wonder.
Never done. What does it say? Because I mean, Tobago politics has been tumultuous in the last year, no doubt. I mean, the allegations, without any sort of refutation, doesn't look like the assembly is carrying on in a credible manner if there's not a statement coming out about it, because the assembly has gone through quite a tumultuous last 12 months.
Yeah, and the funny thing about it, Paul, is that this is in a scenario where you've had persons who have come into office in one vehicle. They have since shut down that vehicle, exited, joined another vehicle, and they are carrying on as business as usual. And there are some who are saying, well, hey, listen, the right and proper thing would be to call elections and validate this new mechanism or this new apparatus that you have, which is called the Tobago People's Party, and that has not yet been done. So, I mean, in light of that, I would think that there ought to be more concern raised as to where exactly Tobago is heading. But unfortunately, it seems, Paul, that there is a sort of laissez-faire approach and a very relaxed approach by Tobagonians in terms of the continuance in office of the present party, whereby they seem quite happy and contented. So if it is that they are not worried, then I'm wondering, why should we be worried?
With that said, do you think Mr. Augustine's administration is developing a credibility problem?
Well, the thing is, Paul, funnily enough, our politics in TNT is so bifurcated and so divided that, it's just similar as in Trinidad. You will have PNM persons doing the worst things possible, and their hardcore supporters will defend them to the end. You will have UNC persons doing, the most atrocious things, and their hardcore supporters will be defending them to the end. And Tobago has reached to that point where those who support the new entity with Mr. Augustine, they will see no wrong in anything as long as they are part of the gravy train, and once they are getting, as they say in the local parlance, to eat a food. So once they are satisfied and they are getting their share of the spoils, they will not comment or criticize on anything. And that's the unfortunate reality that we are facing in Trinidad politics and in Tobago's politics. And that's where we have to keep hammering and beating that drum. You see, that's why I always try to make the time to participate in programs such as this, because we need to elevate the level of discourse, the level of discussion in Trinidad and Tobago above the partisan petty politics, and let people start to see what is good for Trinidad and Tobago, separate and apart from your orange or your red or your yellow jersey.
So we see how it continues. Let's bring you to the topic of the local government election. The House will meet today to debate the Municipal Corporation's extension of term office. We hadn't spoken to you since the judgment came down on, I think, May 18th. And your thoughts on the judgment and its implications for local government elections.
Well, I mean, it is clear that the judgment was pellucid in terms of its vindication of the claim that was made by the applicant who challenged it, and it was a clear refutation of the government's approach to the extension of the life of these bodies, notwithstanding the creative verbal gymnastics that the Attorney General tried to engage in to try to then reach down to the Court of Appeal level and then start to count judges down there. I mean, that was a most alarming proposition, that you have a decision by the Privy Council and you say, well, it was 3 Privy Council judges, but then you had 2 that voted against it, and then you had 3 Court of Appeal judges that voted against it. So therefore, 3 plus 2 is 5. I mean, that is absurd. Richard could tell you in your very first year in law, the first thing you know is the hierarchy of courts, and they tell you that, look, a superior court of record is one that takes precedence over the lower court. So you don't ever go down to that level. I mean, it was quite bizarre, I mean, to see the way he tried to, twist himself like a pretzel to try to explain this as a quote-unquote win for the government. And I think it did him no favors.
Add to that the suggestion of contempt when the case was over.
Yes, and the point is, he himself, who was commenting the most on the judgment, then tells people, well, if you comment on it in a way that is not favorable, you could be held in contempt. I mean, it was just, it is so sad to see how these things of governance are being twisted just for political ends, and it's rather disappointing.
The debate today is on the validation of the terms since December last year, since the extension, and 3 months into the future, because the elections is due in 35 days since the judgment, according to the utterances of the Prime Minister. Do you think it will have an impact on the turnout because of the kind of attention this particular local government election has gotten in light of the extension and the subsequent judgment?
I would think that people are definitely more eager to be able to cast their vote and to make a statement in light of the way things played out. It's like, you almost feel, Paul, as if you were denied of something, or there was an attempt to delay or deny you something. And now that you have validation, I think people are going to reach for it with both hands. And I think we will see a very good turnout in terms of, the polls when the elections are called.
But you said earlier on, because of the bifurcation of the electorate in Trinidad and Tobago, the ones who are supporting the PNM will say, well, they will support their party's position in light of the judgment. And those who support the UNC will say, well, yes, we've vindicated in the applicant's victory at the Supreme Court, no matter what anybody else says it was a victory, even though 3-2 it was a victory. And they will vote along those lines anyway. So
right, but what I'm referring to is those who are undecided, those who are on the fence, those who are neither fish nor fowl, those who may feel, well, look, hey, I have the chance to make a difference because I am not, wearing a yellow jersey or wearing a red jersey, so therefore I am neutral. I am able to say I am making my own independent decision. So I am hoping that those are the ones who would be able to come out in their numbers and actually try to make a difference.
Do you think there's any space for third-party successes in a local government election?
Well, the thing is, I think the time, between now and the date of this election is way too short. There's no credible third force. We saw Timothy Hammersmith with a group called Hope that they were trying to, get themselves together. But clearly the time frame is not sufficient. And you see, any third force in TNT, to be able to have any element of success, you must take a big chunk out of one or both of the established parties in terms of your base. If you do not get a bite out of those political bases, then you really don't stand a chance because they control the majority of the voting population. So the thing is, you have to now win over the support from either of those two established parties in order for you to make a difference. Otherwise, you're basically just, you're blowing wind in a thunderstorm.
Let's turn our attention to crime and the erstwhile Commissioner of Police. I guess you would have had sight of the recent JSC where the Commissioner was asked about her track record and in light of the end of June 1st indication of some sort of change in the crime trend, and then the information that she subsequently put into the public domain about the end of year and the statistics that have not borne fruit by and large. And what do you think that does to her credibility as commissioner, because she's a relatively new commissioner, she's just gotten an extension, and the police service, public perception about the police service performance?
Well, I think really it's a reflection of a certain level of naivety and newness to the job, which belays and it exposes. I guess maybe a level of unpreparedness to be able to deal with these issues in a public forum, because you must know that you'll be faced with these types of questions. You must know that these are things that people are going to be throwing at you all the time. So therefore, it is actually quite a bit surprising to see that, she appeared unready or, unable to meet and treat with these questions. First of all, you don't ever peg yourself to these hard and fast statistics, especially if you know that you really do not have any credible plan to do so. Because when pressed at the meeting in Chaguanas, if you recall, one of the main planks of her plan for fighting crime was to turn to God. And I mean, of course, I fully support, invoking the assistance of the divine, but that certainly can't be your main or only, attempt at trying to reduce crime. You have to do more, and even the IRO, they came out and they spoke and they said, yes, of course, invoking the help of the Almighty is good, but you must have your plan first. I mean, the Bible says God helps those who help themselves. So if you don't begin with your own plan, then really and truly, you are just basically talking, and actually it's more talk than action. And I think as yet there is that credibility gap. And you've also seen situations where, for instance, the officers who have been accused of certain things, you've seen that nobody's been sent an administrative leave, nothing of the sort. So even in terms of dealing with the internal problems of crime and criminality within the police service, I have not seen a very hard and fast approach on her part in that regard. And we all know that that is a major source of the problem of crime and criminality in Trinidad and Tobago.
You see, there's a suggestion that Mrs. Hereward Christopher is new. She is new on the job as commissioner, but Mrs. Hereward Christopher is a long-standing officer. I think has about 40 years service. If I'm not mistaken, over 10 at a very senior level in the police service. So the issues about readiness, I mean, she was put on the merit list by the Police Service Commission and forwarded to Parliament and chosen by the administration. So the suggestion by some that, well, she's new, give her time. Yes, I don't think you can turn around a crime situation in 6 months or a year, but the readiness for the camera and the readiness to answer what to me are obvious questions that will come your way in terms of your performance, it confuses me.
Yeah, and Paul, I can give you an example. For instance, if you have someone who for years has been, a very famous and popular broadcaster and has been thrust into the spotlight as an independent senator, in those circumstances, that person has to make that adjustment and step up to the plate. And I know of a situation where someone actually did, and they didn't complain and say, well, I'm new to the job and, give me time. And, so, I am allowed to talk nonsense and, not be able to answer questions positively. So, the excuse of, newness, I don't buy it. As you said, she has more than 40 years experience in the service.
I don't know. But what does that do? You see, the personality is one thing. The leadership impacts the public perception about the service and the public's ability or willingness to contribute to fighting crime, which is very important.
And the thing is, I think we should then turn the spotlight onto the government and ask the government to justify why is it they felt compelled in such circumstances to seek the 1 year the extension of her tenure. In other words, is it based on performance? Is it that you have no other options? Is it that you have run out of ideas? What is the reason or rationale? Because it certainly can't be that you can point to a track record of excellent performance for the time that she's been there. So what is your reason or rationale for extending?
Given our crime scenario, and I understand what you're saying, and I think the government owes the public a rationale or a reason, a publicly stated reason for the extension. But is it really fair to judge somebody in that position in about 3-4 months or 6 months since assuming the position?
Well, the thing is, that's why I'm saying it's the government to explain, because they must have made a judgment call by saying, look, this is the person we want out of all the possible candidates. Because remember, the situation has changed such that you don't have to limit yourself. You know, you can choose who you want to be put forth onto the merit list and who you can interview, etc. So therefore, if it is that they are saying that, look, this is the only person we want to continue in office, I think the ball is back in their court for them to explain what's the rationale.
But that suggestion would have come from the PSC, the Police Service Commission. They would have indicated the merit list, and I think she was the only name put forward. Am I right?
Right, but if you recall the way the merit list works, all right, and I mean I always remind the population of this. When Gary Griffith was ultimately chosen as police commissioner, he was not number 1 on the merit list. He was not number 2 on the merit list. He was not number 3 on the merit list. In fact, the first name that was put forth, the government rejected that name. The second name that was put forth, the government rejected that name. The third name that was put forth, the government rejected that name until they got the person that they wanted at the time. So the fact that they've put forth that name doesn't mean that you are obliged to accept it, because remember, the way the legislation is structured, it's subject to the parliamentary majority.
But Richard raises a good point that I was going to raise. And correct me if I'm wrong, but by my understanding, even the extension had to be petitioned by the Prime Minister to the Police Service Commission to grant the extension. Am I wrong?
In terms of, you mean what? The
extension, the process to grant the extension and the confirmation of the extension.
Well, the thing is, the way it is, the Police Service Commission, they are the ones who have to look at the situation and they say, well, okay, look, if this person's term of office is going to end, what do we do? Do we seek an extension? Do we seek to get a new candidate? Of course, this is done in conjunction with the recommendation, because if the government does not recommend the extension, then there's no question about it ever happening. So the government does have a role to play there, because they are the ones who will have to approve the salaries, etc., for this person being extended.
This is the extension beyond the retirement age, right?
Yeah.
Yes, that's correct.
But if the retirement age matters, why would the PSC not factor that into your decision in your nomination process?
In the first place. Well, exactly. That's a question you can throw fairly and squarely in the court of the PSC, because in other words, you appoint somebody with only 3 months to go before retirement. So it's either you had some heads up that this extension was going to be granted, or you really are, really engaging in some sort of act of, sophistry, because the point is you're certainly not going to think that a police commissioner in 3 months is going to make all the difference in the world. So why would you appoint someone for, such a short period if it is that you know that their term is going to be up by way of, natural fluctuation of time? So maybe there's some knowledge they had or foreknowledge that they had in terms of the grant of an extension.
But the Prime Minister did pretty extensively cover the potential for the extension and because Mrs. Christopher's 60th birthday was impending. So the Prime Minister did reference what would happen if that were to happen, when that occurred, I should say, because it was imminent. Martin George, you were a former commissioner on the Police Service Commission, looking around at the crime situation in Trinidad and Tobago and the performance of the TTPS and the performance of the commissioner and deputies, because I think that's the remit of the commission, the PSC, not so?
Yes.
What would you be looking at closely now, if you were still there?
Well, the first thing I would suggest is that there's the absolute need for full-time commissioners. It's not a part-time job. It cannot be done part-time. There's a need for full-time commissioners. There's a need for more resources in terms of the Police Service Commission. There's need for us to be able to have more authority to actually go in to police stations and demand documents, papers, books, because the way it was up till when I left, and I'm not sure it has changed, is basically you had to request the information, you wait months and months and months, and then they provide you what they want to send to you, and it's on that basis you make your assessments, and that could never be good. You know, I have called repeatedly for us to establish a formal internal internal service whereby you have internal investigations going on, whereby these are undercover officers, so therefore it could be the cleaner, it could be the lady making coffee or tea, but she's an undercover internal officer who is observing, watching, making notes, reporting on police officers. That's the only way you can keep a police service clean.
They will tell you, Mr. George, with the greatest of respect, we have the Police Complaints Authority and we have the Professional Standards Bureau. And some of them.
That's after the fact.
Yeah.
But you see, that's after the fact. You want people who are in there within the bosom and belly of the beast, who are observing and taking notes and reporting on officers. That's the only way you are going to root out the corruption.
But au contraire, I saw an expose in the Express this weekend questioning the very use of one of the most technologically advanced accountability measures, body cams, and the police application of that, despite years of promises.
Yes, and I was quite alarmed when I saw it also, because it appears that notwithstanding having the equipment, it appears that implementation has been part of the problem. But you see, Paul, the reality is that we have to basically take this by the scruff of the neck, in the sense of you have to ensure that, I mean, at some point, I mean, regardless of the protest, the whatever, we have to take some hard decisions and decide, look, are we serious about improving the level of accountability, the level of dedication, the level of service in our TTPS, or is it that we are going to continue with the same old, even from the entry level? Do you know most police officers in metropolitan countries, they enter there with a degree in police science?
We spoke about that last week, and should the 6-month training be extended to 18 months in a serious sense?
And that's part of the problem. So in other words, we are at the stage where we are still basically scraping up people off the side of the road and slapping a gun in their hands, a baton in their hands, and a uniform and a badge. And, you know, basically, in some cases, you're basically putting a criminal in uniform.
I wouldn't go as far in agreement with scraping people off the street and putting a criminal in uniform.
No, I said in some cases.
Maybe some of them develop criminogenic properties while in train. I don't know. I can't really let that pass us. I want to go back to the issue. You raised something about a permanent police commissioner. Mrs. Harewood Christopher is subject to review in a year and extension. This is not the principle to me of a permanent police commissioner.
Oh, no, sorry. I was speaking about a permanent police service commission. In terms of a full-time commissioner, not commissioner.
I'm talking about the commissioner's present situation, where she's now subject to a review at the end of the year and possible potential extension again. Is that what we want?
Well, the thing is, I mean, of course, the review is important, because at the end of the day, you must have some metrics and some basis for measuring her performance on the job. And that is a way that you can now determine objectively and impartially how she has performed vis-a-vis the criteria and the KPIs which you would have set. But the fact of the matter is,
how was that different when Mr. Jacob was there? When you don't have a security of tenure, you have to, your performance appraisal is great, but isn't that what we try to avoid?
Sorry, Paul, I just missed that question.
I said, isn't that the same, in principle, general scenario that Mr. Jacob and others had endured, where they have to be reviewed after a year and extended as opposed to having a 3-year term to make a difference?
All right, and it again comes back to the question of you basically wait till the end of their tenure and then you grant them this basically almost as a golden handshake. So we need to start going deeper in the recruitment process for persons who are younger, persons who have more years available of service, so that way you're not on this 1-year extension all the time. But
Well,
that
good morning,
takes
Wendell
some
Stephen.
strategic planning and some long-term, thinking in that regard. So that's why I'm saying if there's a permanent police service commission where you have full-time officers, full-time members of the commission, they can now do this type of long-term planning rather than having itinerant members rotated every 3 years.
And I mean, it's now an appeal, but I don't know if you care to comment on the ongoing fallout from the Brent Thomas issue in terms of the impact.
I don't know why I'm not hearing you all, though, but I'm seeing you all.
Who's not hearing?
Wendell, we are hearing you,
I'm hearing Wendell.
Yeah, we are hearing Wendell.
All right.
Yeah.
Gentlemen.
Yeah, go on.
Yeah, the Brent Thomas issue, I know it's an appeal or some kind of appeal, and its impact on the police service trust and confidence. Do you think it has any impact at all?
Well, I mean, until we know for sure what exactly transpired and who gave instructions, because it seems that everybody is doing like Pontius Pilate and washing their hands of the issue. I saw most recently the Minister of National Security is, crying to high heavens that, he gave no instructions and he had nothing to do with it. So apparently it seems that there are rogue elements acting as laws upon themselves.
Martin, put a pin. Can an operation at that level, or should an operation at that level be carried out trans-border without the knowledge and authorization of the Commissioner of Police?
I would be extremely surprised if the Commissioner of Police and the Minister of National Security were in the dark about that. I would be extremely surprised.
It's a well-placed answer.
If we could touch on the economy slightly before the interview comes to an end, in Tobago, are you still the head of the Tobago Chamber of Commerce?
Yes, I am.
Yeah, so I don't know, what is your, are you optimistic about the outlook for Tobago? Are things improving in the island in terms of the tourist trade, the economic activity? If you could give us a sense of that.
Well, we always try to take an optimistic approach to these things, because at the end of the day, business is always in cycles. So sometimes it's down, sometimes it's up. But the thing is, there are things that are being done, there are plans that are being put in place, and we are seeing some upticks. We saw recently the announcement of ground being broken for a new hotel at Killigrew Bay. There's also the new Marriott that is also to be constructed. So those are two major things, because the Killigrew Bay is supposed to be Secrets and Dreams, which are two international brands, so it seems that Tobagonians have gotten over their phobia from the sandals and beaches debacle. So it seems that they are accepting of this now, but the point is, without that type of investment, we really are going to be going nowhere. And it appears that the preferred operator for the Magdalena is going to be the same operator who is supposed to be doing this Secrets and Dreams hotel. So we are hoping that there would be some change there. Notwithstanding that, Richard, we've always, made it clear to our members and to the business persons in Tobago that, look, it's not sufficient just to, wring your hands and cry and say, the sky is falling, the sky is falling. There are many ways, there are many things that you can do to improve. So like even during the pandemic, we suggested that, persons focus on retraining, retooling, looking to make your operations leaner, meaner, more agile, more adept in the circumstances. You want to ensure that, look, in any given scenario, you can adapt, because that's what business is about. It can't be that you sit down doing the same thing over and over again. I have spoken repeatedly, just, about the simple bene balls and sugar cakes and, popper balls that they sell at the airport. And, in the Philippines, where I was, the way they present and package those things, first of all, they do them in much smaller sizes. You have a nice, clear plastic glass container, and it's done so attractively. The same bene balls, they say, and I'm like, but why is nobody in Tobago doing this? You can't be, churning out the same big, clumsy, hard bene balls that, breaking your teeth, breaking your jaw every time, in just wrapped clumsily in a piece of plastic bag.
Did it break my teeth and jaws? Maybe I have stronger teeth than you.
But what I'm saying is that we need to start being a little more innovative rather than simply, crying and saying, well, things are hard, business is hard. We have the potential. We have the possibilities. We just need to ensure that we dig deep into ourselves and we open our eyes to the possibilities. Go on the internet, do your research, look at new ways of doing things, and bring that to the table, because that's what the truth
you
wants.
have a whole new administration in the THA. You don't have NAR, you don't have PNM, you have a whole new administration. What has changed?
Well, that's a question. And, the thing is, Paul, it's always said, and the Bible says it quite clearly, a people without a vision shall surely perish. And as yet, one is not clear as to what exactly is the vision of the new THA to show that they are different from what occurred before. And that, I think, is the root of the problem here, because you can't keep doing the same thing over and over again and expecting different results.
Well, they're doing different things. They seem to be looking to bump up propaganda.
Is the airport expansion happening? Has that started?
Well, yes, the airport expansion is well on the way, but the thing is, Richard, I have always said that it's a case of the chicken and the egg, and you build a nice bird cage, but you don't have any bird to put in it, right? So the new airport is really basically a bird cage. But if you don't have the flights, if you don't have the uplift, if you don't have that buy-in from the major airlines to say, well, hey, listen, I want to fly to Tobago, and I want to fly to Tobago on a commercially viable basis, then it basically could end up being a white elephant. So in other words, you should actually have generated the demand first and then say, well, hey boy, wow, we have so many airlines, we really need to upgrade this airport. But you go ahead.
And then some would say we have to build it first and then invite them, because you can't invite them if you don't have it. So how are you
No, but Paul, I'll tell you, listen. Let's look at Princess Juliana Airport in St. Martin, right? Princess Juliana Airport, right? It's a small airport. It's not very big. But if you look at the volumes that come through that airport, I mean, they are actually at the point where they should have a bigger airport because of the volume. I mean, the amount of private jets, all these basketball players, they come down there with their private jets. All the big soccer players, everybody comes down into that airport in St. Martin. St. Martin is a tiny, tiny island. We have so much more that we can offer in Trinidad and Tobago. But the thing is, we just don't seem to be getting it right in terms of how we manage these things.
If you build it, they will come. Isn't that a famous phrase?
No, that's a different thing. That was the mantra for Las Vegas. They say build it, they will come to it. That's different. The fact of the matter is, when you're talking about airline uplift and you're talking about the choice to come to a destination, the airlines, they only work on the economic numbers. And remember what we've seen in the past. We've seen, for instance, remember the ill-fated flights from Brazil, where we went out and had this crazy idea that, look, we are going to try and get persons from Brazil to come to Trinidad and Tobago. And look at what happened. You had a scenario where the flight is leaving Brazil with over 200 passengers. They're stopping off everywhere. And by the time they reach Tobago, it's only 8 people coming off the flight. But yet still, Tobago was paying for that flight. So in other words, basically, we were minding Barbados and all the other islands where the flight was stopping because we were the last destination. So we paying the most and getting the least amount of passengers.
To go back to your Las Vegas example, you knew what you were going to about Las Vegas for. You had a clear idea of what the product was and the services were.
Thank you. And that's the difference.
I didn't change every 3 years. Martin George stands to be with us. But it's true. I mean, we don't know what the product will be next year or 3 years from now. We don't know.
You're quite right. And then each political administration has new ideas, and then they want to kick out what the previous administration had, and they want their own ideas.
You don't need to change administration for them ideas to change. They could, this administration have 2 different names.
I'm surprised Wendell has been so quiet this morning.
He's now fully on.
Martin, my humblest apologies, but I was having some internet issues, and so I'm just on. And I'm
Okay, book better hotels.
You don't get better than this.
You want to sleep in.
You don't get better than that. and you see what that mark there? You see what that mark there? Gold Elite member. You see what that mark there?
Yeah, I'm seeing something looking like a palm tree on the label, but I'll say no more.
Without internet.
I wish.
Anyway, Martin, thank you for being with us.
It's always a pleasure, guys. Have a great morning. Thank you very much.
Can I give a pecan?
Yeah, man, go ahead.
I'm here clinging on.
What, sorry?
I'm still here clinging on.
Is Martin, just quickly, Martin, are you part of the group with plenty money and plenty time?
Who's that?
There's a group that Paul and them would have interviewed the head of that group the other day.
Okay.
Plenty money and plenty time. Are you part of that group?
No, unfortunately, no.
You just have plenty money, but not enough time.
We don't have plenty time.
Wendell, goodbye.
Thanks, Martin. All the best to you.
Have a good morning, guys. Take care. All
right.
Okay.
All right. We will chat with Mr. Watson to come up on the other side of 8 o'clock. Let's get into our news briefing music.
This is your news bulletin from Power 102 Digital.
Head of the Tobago Business Chamber, Martin George, says the comments and the voice recordings circulating on social media, which appear to be that of THA's Chief Secretary, Farley Augustine, are unacceptable. In the recording, two persons whose voices sound similar to Augustine and Education Secretary Zarisha Hackett can be heard discussing the hiring of persons within the THA to promote political